Bob Legere covers the Bears for the Daily Herald. He's done it for a long time, and he joins us now with a look at Alshon Jeffery, the newest Eagle, Bob. But how come he's not back in Chicago? It seems like there was there interest in bringing him back? What's the scuttle on why Alshon is in Philly today?
I think there might have been more interest on the Bears side than there was in from Alshon's side. He never said it, but in the last couple of years, you never really got the feeling that he was in love with being in Chicago. Obviously last year he had to play with three quarterbacks. He's betting on himself, and apparently he feels that going to a new offense and having Carson Wentz as his quarterback is more beneficial to him than staying here in a familiar offense with Mike Glennon at quarterback. I really can't blame him, but the Bears are going to miss him. Without him, they're counting on Kevin White, who's played 4 games in 2 years. If Kevin White's everything they think he is, they're in okay shape. If he gets hurt again, it's a disaster.
Yeah, and of course, Kevin White's 7th pick in the draft a couple of years ago hasn't panned out. Alshon Jeffery in Philadelphia. Injuries. I said, here's a guy that Eagle fans, you probably love the talent in the signing, but there are times where they could be very frustrated with this guy, right?
Well, sometimes, yeah. He was injury-prone 2 years ago. Last year, it was just a 4-game PED suspension that kept him sidelined. If you look back at his big years, 2013, 2014, he was healthy the whole year. And if he's healthy for 16 games, he's going to put up numbers. The good thing is he had 4 different injuries in 2015. None of them were real serious. They were muscle strains and things of that nature, just nagging type of things that knocked him out for 2 or 3 games at a time.
So would you say he's injury-prone or just kind of some minor things that have kind of come up at inopportune times?
It was really only 1 year, so I would not categorize him as injury-prone. He had a bad year. A lot of it, I think, is luck. The Bears have had bad luck that way for 2 years now. It really, though, only affected him the 1 year. So I don't think he's a gamble as far as him being on the field and being able to stay healthy.
What do you think Alshon Jeffery will bring to the Eagles' offense?
Well, first and foremost, in the league now, we refer to it as 50-50 balls. If you're throwing it up to him, that's not accurate. It's more like 80-20, 70-30, because more often than not, he's going to come down with the ball in those situations, and that's where I think his biggest threat is.
You look at the playmaking ability, his size. Is there something? Somebody was on the show the other day. We were talking about who's the best fit, and they said, "Well, Alshon doesn't do anything elite. He does a lot of things very good." Is that something that you would concur with?
No, not at all. I think when it comes to going up and getting it, he's upper echelon for sure. He's big. He's physical. He doesn't complain. He'll catch over the middle. He can run after the catch. I think there's a lot to like about him. And really the only question mark is if he's on the field, because if he is for 16 games, he's going to put up huge numbers. I think 2013, 2014, he averaged 87 catches and almost 1,300 yards. So the production will be there if he's healthy and if he's got a quarterback who can get it to him, which he does in Philadelphia.
Bob, what did you think of the 1-year deal? Were you surprised?
A little bit. I thought there would at least be a couple teams willing to give him close to $14 million, maybe $12 million for multiple years. They weren't, and the Bears weren't willing to do that either. I think their multi-year deal probably would have topped out about $12 million. But, yeah, a little bit surprised. And for him, I think it's a good move. He's betting on himself for a year, and if he stays healthy, he's gonna get a big payday next year.
Yeah, it sounds like the Bears, if they were in a little better situation, that maybe he wasn't enthralled with possibly going back there.
Yeah, I mean, if he said I want to play on a championship team. The Bears aren't close to that right now. I don't know if the Eagles are a whole lot closer, but I think probably they are. Coming up with 3-13, there's not a lot of optimism here. Everyone believes they're going to be better next year, but better could mean 7-9, 8-8. I don't think anyone right now is predicting them to be anything better than 500 next year. And Alshon's in his prime. He wants a shot to play for a championship when he's at the top of his game.
Bob, was he well liked in Chicago by the fans? Because Philly can be a tough place to play, as you know.
Yeah, I don't. I'd say he was. If I had one word to describe him, though, it would be reticent. He's not a big talker. You're not going to get a lot out of him. He's soft-spoken, which, sometimes is a breath of fresh air when you're in the same locker room as Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett. But he's not a bad guy. He just doesn't like talking. He doesn't enjoy the media. I don't think he's really comfortable doing it. He'll answer questions, but he's not going to be real expansive.
Bob Legere is with us here. Daily Herald covers the Chicago Bears, where there's a lot happening out there. Mike Glennon, $15 million a year. How's that being received?
You know what? People are, I think for the most part, glad that Cutler's gone, because that, didn't work out, time and time again. He, teased with talent, but not come through. And people aren't sold. Originally, when they heard 3 years, $45 million, people freaked out. But when you explain the fact that most of that guaranteed money is paid this year, and that if they do draft a franchise quarterback this year and he shows potential, they can cut him next year, and they're only out $2.5 million, I think, is his roster bonus for next year. So it's not like they're committed to him, and it's not like they're giving him a whole lot of money guaranteed. It's nothing close. It's about half of what Brock Osweiler got, so there's no danger of that happening.
It seems that the Bears obviously making the change at quarterback, moving on from Jay Cutler. It's certainly a team in transition, right? I mean, this is a team that is still a ways off from being a playoff team.
Yeah, that's it. They're making moves now, which you expect in the first year of a regime. They're in the third year. I don't know that there's a lot of pressure on Ryan Pace to win next year, but I'm pretty sure there was pressure on John Fox to show significant improvement next year. If not, I think they'll move on from him. So, they're rebuilding in some areas, but they do have some things to build on. They've got a solid defense. I think it'll get better in the draft. The draft is strong in areas they're weak. And they're not done in free agency. A lot of people are saying the Bears were losers in free agency. Just the first day. The first day wasn't tremendously impressive, but there's a long way to go.
So overall, do you like the move, Bob, that the Eagles made to pick up Alshon Jeffery?
I think it's a good move for the Eagles, yeah. If you got a guy like Carson Wentz, you got to give him weapons, and you got to give him a supporting cast, and he definitely gets that with Alshon Jeffery. And they also signed Torrey Smith, right?
Yep, he was the first guy, $5 million, and then later on in the day, Alshon. So they got both of them yesterday.
Yeah, if you got a talent like that, and he shows potential, which Wentz obviously does, you have to surround him with good people, because that window of opportunity closes sooner than you think. So I think they're doing the right thing right now.
How much you know about Joe Douglas? I know he was only in Chicago for a short amount of time, but today, Torrey Smith, who was drafted in Baltimore, Joe was there. He mentioned Joe's name multiple times as one of the reasons that enticed him to come here. And Mike Groh, also the wide receiver coach who's in Philly. I'm wondering how much those two relationships helped Alshon out.
Well, Mike Groh, I know, and I think that definitely had an impact. Alshon had his best year with Mike Groh as his position coach back in 2013, so that connection there has to help.
Well, we'll also see we heard from Torrey earlier. We'll also hear from Alshon later on, and maybe he'll tell us more about how these guys impacted his move. We did hear him yesterday say Carson Wentz had a lot to do with it. Bob, we do appreciate a couple minutes of your time. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Take care.